welcome to what I've been up to for my fourth agent. Let's see what happens. You see my alpha's working hard, not me. Okay, enough of that fun. So I can bring it up so you can see a little bit closer what's going on. Okay, so this is actually called the Midi monitor, where you can actually see. Let me turn it off. Okay, so obviously what I was showing you here was the new Midi monitor. What this does is actually enable you to look at various MIDI messages on the Eigenharp. The obvious example that I was showing then was the playing a MIDI input into the Eigenharp and displaying the notes. Some points of interest. The MIDI monitor is set up to use all of the existing keyboard layouts. So in this particular example, I have actually a horizontal layout with 5 keys across, and it obviously goes down. But the MIDI monitor knows what the layout is and knows how long the courses are, etc., etc. So it can actually adapt to anything like the factory layout, etc. It was obviously a bit frantic. Obviously, I've also got my synthesizer here linked up to it, so we can actually see some notes coming on here. Now here, for example, you can actually see you've got 4 lights on, and that's because I've got actually a repeated note, because in my setup, this is actually a practication row. The other thing you might have noticed is you can see some of them are in different colours, and that's because it's velocity sensitive. So basically, if you hit it hard, it's in orange. If you hit it softly, it's in green, and if you hit it somewhere in the middle, you can get red, but I can't get it at the moment. So that's velocity sensitive. I'm going to make it so you can actually have it not velocity sensitive, because obviously at the moment, if you hit it really, if you hit it really quietly, you won't get anything coming up at all because it's so sensitive. So that's that. Now, that was actually using my full layout, so I thought I would show you that first. And what I'm going to now do is actually quit and actually load a little simpler setup. I want setup number 3, which is my much smaller layout. Okay, so this one's a much simpler one. This one has actually just literally got all of the keys going down here. Now, so if I play synthesizer, you can see notes, and here you can see it. Now, what I wanted to show you this was actually because it's not just about playing those. Obviously, playing MIDI tunes is nice because you can actually obviously use it to actually work out where note positions are if you're not familiar with the layouts. But you can also be a bit creative with it. So, for example, in this particular setup, you could just use it as a display device. So, for example, here I've got one here where literally, because it's MIDI, it's obviously really easy to just actually send time sequences to it. So, for example, here we are. This one's kind of a little raining type display. It's just looping in Ableton. I was able to very easily do it. It's just an octave transposed a little bit, and then that's it. You've got to delay the MIDI notes. That's it. You've got a display. But obviously, you could get really creative here. You could do what you like. Okay, but it doesn't just display MIDI notes. It also has another mode. Now, I've actually got this so it's all set up into one configuration, which I'll show you in a minute. But the other thing it does is also we have a way of actually displaying CCs, so MIDI controls. So if I actually turn things on the synthesizer here, you see this is sending. You can't quite see it in the video, but those are coloured. So this is actually using it in so-called CC per key mode, which means that different CCs light up different keys. It's quite good. Now I've got one lit because I don't. Oh, that's that one. Okay. And then the other thing you can do as well. That's all quite nice, but you can also set it up as course mode, as in a row mode, column mode. And so, for example, I've got the mod wheel here set on my synthesizer to do that, and then you can see you can actually get the whole range. You can see there's a little one here because that's also because I've got it on the same key group. That's obviously CC1, so you can see it coming up. But I've also got obviously this one set up so it'll actually do it. And you see it's graded in colour, so you can actually see how far it is. And it doesn't have to be the full length. Obviously, this is EigenD, so you can set it up according to key groups. If you just want a little bit of say 3 or 4 lines, 3 or 4 rows to represent it, you can do that. If you want, yeah, same with the CCs. If you want to just have a couple of keys down, you can do that as well. Obviously, the note stuff all works as well with splits, etc., etc. Let me just show you very quickly the setup. As I say, this one is really a Mickey Mouse setup. Actually, let me. So you can actually see here, all I've got literally is the alpha keyboard linked up to a key group. So really, for the MIDI monitor, the only thing that we're actually really interested in here is the controller input from the key group. That's obviously important because that's where it gets all the scale information, octaves, etc. We're feeding it from a MIDI input. In this case, we've just got one input that's coming in. It's coming in from Ableton. And I've actually got, so I've got 3 MIDI monitors set up here, which is why, I mean, I can play keys and things at the same time. But realistically, you probably wouldn't want to do that because you're going to get very confusing lights. But you can do it if you want. Then inside here, so usually you'd probably have different key groups. And the point about key groups as well is you could obviously then have them laid out as you wanted to. So you wouldn't have to include all CCs, etc., etc. So basically MIDI input, controller input. Then in here we have a few other settings, which is, oh sorry, obviously the other thing that it does is connect back to the light on the key group. Now if we have a look in here, we can actually have a look at the different settings. So the first one is the channel. So this basically means that if it's 0, it will respond to all MIDI channels, but you can make it respond to just individual channels. That's useful, for example, if you have splits like I do, where you might have MIDI channel 1 on the top and MIDI channel 2 on the bottom, and you might want to see which notes are going to which side. I won't do them in order. Yeah, all right, we'll do. Channel for status. This means that the status is the colour the lights are, and this is when it's in when it's displaying notes. So you can have a different colour per MIDI channel. Now, obviously, there's only 3 colours, so it will obviously only use one of those 3 colours. But so you could have all of channel 1 in red, all of channel 2 in green, for example. Close note. This means, okay, so I've got this set up in chromatic scale. So that obviously means that every key that's in the MIDI files is possible to play on here, potentially. However, you might have it in major mode. If you have it in a mode that doesn't contain all the semitones, then what close note will do is it will actually display it on the next note. So for example, if you're in C major and it gets sent to C sharp, it can show it on D instead. It's not particularly useful, but so it's usually turned off. But if you want an indication that there is another note, that's the way of doing it. Enable control with courses. So this is setting up this mode. So that's where you've got as in a CC per course. Control per key. This was the one, as I said, where you've got individual keys represent different CCs. Enable nodes. Well, obviously that's this one. Mode I haven't shown you, but I can't. It also responds to polypressure. So what that means that obviously when you're pressing the notes currently, what happens is you get the velocity coded into a colour. But if you enable polyphonic pressure, it will then actually track the pressure as well, and so change colours regarding the polypressure. First note. Okay. I haven't tested this. So this is this. Oh, actually, I've got the wrong setup, so I can't test it. This is what I was saying, that when you've got replicated notes, it currently shows all of them. If you click first note on, then it will only show the first of the C's. So, for example, if you've got the same C represented here and here, then it will only show that one. Whereas by default, it'll light that one and that one as well. And then the final one is velocity for status. And what that means is that it's actually using the Midi velocity to actually indicate what colour the lights are. That's really about it, I think. It all works, as you can see. I'm going to rename a few things. And there's a few other little things I'd like to do. So, for example, to make it, I think, so that you can send MIDI notes and it can ignore the velocity information and just do it in a standard colour. That's partly because I usually have it coloured, so I'd like it to go yellow. And a bit more testing, but apart from that, it's done. And I'll be releasing it. I'll be able to put it on. I've got a 10.8 machine again, so I can release it for EigenD 2.074, which is the current commercial release, and obviously then 2.76 and 2.1 as well. It's currently running on 2.1. That's it. All right. Have a nice evening. Cheers. Bye.